Ray.
All right. This is 999 Show, and we are on live with Roman. And Roman's going to start out by talking about a little bit about his channel and what it is that he does here on YouTube. And then we're going to just see what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think so far I can tell you we can probably spend a couple of good hours talking about just everything and anything. Bill, I was a little bit concerned, but I don't think it's going to be an issue.
No,
so
I don't. Yeah.
So are we really on now?
Yeah, we're on. We only have roughly about 90 minutes tops because I have to start making dinner and.
Oh, okay.
I take care of my mom, and my mom is more on a.
Oh, really? Oh. How old is mom?
She's 85, and the dog is 15, going on 16, and the little dog.
Your dog, or is it her?
Well, mom's 85, and the dog is going on is either 15 or 16, and the little dog has no teeth. So I'm the dog's cook, and
no, I have two Frenchies. They're 3 years old, and I'm the can opener and poop scooper. But,
well, little Pee-wee likes to eat steak, and she doesn't eat canned dog food, and so that's what. She's a long-haired Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. Oh my God. Yeah. So I've known two Chihuahuas in my life, and what's funny, I was talking to Ramon actually of Muscab has Chihuahuas, and I was telling him the stories. The first, and I'm surprised that I remember the name of the first Chihuahua I've ever met or encountered. Her name was Betty, and that I must have been I don't know, 10 years old or 12, something like that. And she belonged to a girlfriend of mine that lived like 2 doors down from where I lived. And then the next time I encountered another Chihuahua, his name was Pepe. And he belonged to another friend of mine. And what's funny about Chihuahuas and me, we always start fighting. You know, because I like to tease them. I do the snake.
Yeah.
And they, they growl and they show their teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well.
But at some point they figure out that I'm playing with them, and then we become best buddies. And they're such a attached little thing.
Yeah. Well, that reminded me of a story of when I used to live in McMinnville before I moved up to Seattle, and to entertain myself, I would just walk the city streets and whatever. But this one evening, I was walking
when it was safe. When it was safe to walk the city streets.
Yeah, well, I did that when I was in Seattle too. But I walked. I was walking one of the streets, and I got chased for a little while by a pack of Chihuahuas. But of course, it was the.
Oh, come on, Bill! I was in boxer, a pack of Dobermans.
Yeah, it was the length of somebody's yard in their fence, and it was from one corner to the other. But I thought I used to remember that story, but just until now, I had forgotten it for almost 20 years, and got chased by that was like back in the 90s, in the late 90s.
Well, we'll keep that story a little bit low. I was chased by Chihuahuas.
Well, yeah, well, they seem pretty vicious,
Well, those little guys, they have a Napoleon complex, yeah, and they're not afraid of big dogs. Yeah, and they know where to bite because they get between their legs and whack.
Well, yeah, because little Pee-wee, who's a long-haired Chihuahua, before her hip started hurting her bad, she would stand up on her hind legs and dance and look really, really big and be barking at the big dog, Yeah. Well, welcome, Nancy. Welcome.
Some people are joining us. Nancy's on. Oh my God.
Yeah. So,
Selena,
okay. So on your channel, you might mainly do deck reviews, but then you started doing live readings and so forth. Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Bill, as I was starting to tell you, so I picked up my first deck of tarot cards around 1980. Yeah, and familiarized myself with that book, and I would pick it up off and on, but it wasn't really until the pandemic hit, um, that again everything that happened, I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't go to the beach, I couldn't go to the yoga. What am I going to do here? And um, both my parents had dementia. That's why I asked about the health of your mom. I hope that she's healthy physically and mentally.
She has some short-term memory issues.
No.
Uh, she likes to watch the news. We had to change the software out on the TV because so like there was the apps on it, and so the Yahoo was supporting the TV and they stopped supporting it, so I had to put this Roku system on it. Now she can't quite navigate that, but we've been working on it for like 2 months to get it to get the regular TV on, so she can watch the regular news. But yeah.
That's been another subject. My parents were technophobes. I'm the total opposite. I'm used to be. Okay, I'm more of a early adopter of anything, any new technology, etc. So, but my parents were very resistant. I was the one to bring in the flat TV into the house. I was the one to bring the VCR into the house. Electronic stuff like that, the stereo. And my parents resisted getting a cellular phone for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until apparently they had no choice because dad. They like being retired, but at the same time they missed their activity. They have been, these have been hardworking people, very very active all their lives, and all of a sudden they have nothing to do. Mm-hmm. Essentially, my mom was driving my dad crazy. I mean, I lived through that, and even the rougher part of it. But my mom was had a lot of energy. My dad was very chill. My dad would with a book or a TV, he would be happy. Mom had to be doing something. Okay, she would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, clean the house, get ready to go to work, or come back from work at 5 o'clock, cook, and then she would be up till midnight doing handicrafts. Okay, but she wouldn't pick up a book. She wouldn't watch television. It was funny because she would sit next to my dad and she would be asking what's going on the TV, and my dad. My dad would you shut up and let me watch TV. And you watch it. I don't have to explain it to you. It was funny.
My mother's a little face blind, and so she can't. So it takes a while. So she's been watching Frasier over and over again, or Northern Exposure over and over again. She has those characters memorized, but when it comes to like watching other movies and so forth, it's like, well, who is that? The same person? Is that the same person? Is that the same person? You see, I didn't. And then when she, when we figured out that she was face blind, which was just a few years ago, then it made perfect sense why when she was younger and we were children and she was taking us to movies, why it was so annoying to have somebody asking questions like that all throughout the whole movie, you know.
Well, one of the dementia is a very cruel disease. It's something that happens gradually. It doesn't happen overnight. And the worst part about it, if you have a tumor or you have a broken leg, everybody can tell that's a broken leg, that's a broken hip, that's a tumor. Okay, but with dementia, it comes and goes. Sometimes it gets faster. Sometimes it slows down a little bit. But what they have in common is they start losing their faculty.
Yeah.
So hearing, sight, balance. Mom was falling down a lot. And from the caregiver side, Bill, and I don't want to get too much into this because it's not very pleasant. But you go as a caregiver, you go the steps of trauma. Yeah,
it's a constant grieving process. You're in mourning for the person who they were, and not
exactly. not that's another story. But so I'll speak for myself. You go through denial first. You know what you're something's going on. It's rare, but you don't accept it. And for me, when I first moved back from Germany, I just couldn't be home. I didn't feel comfortable here. It was too much of a hassle. But then things started landing on my plate, and I had to become the adult taking care of two seniors, and that was difficult. Yeah. So anyhow, that goes by, and the pandemic really did a number on me.
So do you think it was for better or for worse?
What?
The pandemic, how did it affect you?
For worse, Bill. In all senses, society changed.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed during the AIDS pandemic, and this one, I don't know what to tell you which one was worse. I mean, in the other one, people were dying left and right, but with COVID, during the AIDS epidemic, it was mostly fear, but a self-imposed isolation, self-imposed fear. With COVID, we had an entire society working from home all of a sudden, not going to restaurants, not going to the beach, not going to it was a social economic disaster in all grounds. And for me, I just had buried my folks in 2018. I'm trying to get back on my feet because those 3 years I was a caregiver almost annihilated me. And then the COVID happens, but fortunately, I discovered tarot. I had the one deck for the longest time, Selena, believe it or not. And all of a sudden, I think that the first novelty deck that I bought was probably the Salvador Dali deck.
I have a couple novelty tarot decks. I'm never going to buy another one. But no. I mean, yeah, it's like this is a DC tarot, and
that's Bobby's favorite. I think
it's his favorite.
Yeah.
then I got this Marvel Oracle deck, and it's just like they're completely worthless.
I think I have. I don't know. I have the DC. He has the Marvel. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like but it's it's they well, it would be fine. It would be a fine deck if they had gone through and created a guidebook that was based on the deck and not just a generalized thing, because they played with the images there. So they had like fiery cauldrons where it was a water sign, and so it's it's like, okay, I wanted to one day I'll do a real good review of it, but when I'm doing when I'm editing videos on a Android phone, it's very difficult to do video editing on a phone, and it's because it's like the screen is like super small that you're dealing with.
I only see you small here. I don't know if I can make it bigger, but
that's because I'm set this thing up because I'm doing the show on an Android phone,
okay.
and so I'm catering to people. The 70% of my viewers that view YouTube on their phones.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. I gather that. Yeah, of course. It's very practical.
Yeah.
But somebody told me you're the second person that told me that the YouTube app on the phone you can actually invite like a second person.
You can, and you get more views too.
Really?
You can, yeah. You tend to, but it's like, I don't know why it is, but when you go through a third party, it kind of I don't know. I'm going through StreamYard. I'm going through a third party, but I'm doing it because I didn't know how you were going to connect up. And so
for me, it's easier because I have set up. I have it set up through the PC, even though I don't have a premium StreamYard. I have an account with it, but free. I'm cheap.
I'm doing a free account too, but I've been, if my money diet was better, I would get a paid account for StreamYard, and I would multicast out on other platforms.
Okay. Oh yeah. So you mean like Instagram or whatever?
Or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Something like that. But that's that. So I'm not really doing that, and so I'm just but so if you use the YouTube app on the mobile, you can do this form of this kind of orientated, but there's a way to do it so it's this way too, and I haven't figured out how to do that yet. And
you probably have to go into the settings and allow it to do landscape, I think.
Yeah. So StreamYard is like $30 a month, and
I heard. So So let me finish the story. Come COVID. I pull out my tarot deck as more as a flashcards for memory jog. And then I start experimenting with different spreads, because the 3-card spread and the Celtic spread kind of boring. So I started experimenting with different spreads to see what kind of readings that they would get. At some point I end up with the trying to develop a tree of life spread based on the Kabbalistic tree of life, because none of the spreads that I have found in books and online really gave me any good messages. Because of that, I had been listening into to Ramon of Muscara in particular, and a few others, but Ramon was really the first person that I ever gathered the courage to say hi. You know, would you look, would you because I because he has these excellent training videos. Yeah, which I studied to get back on the horse. And so I thought, okay, let me ask this guy if he, you know, if he would look at this spread and work with it. And that was my first contact. I never imagined people reading cards online.
Yeah.
You know, the only reading that I had done was face to face with friends and family and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, my first long distance reading, Bill, was an Amazon customer rep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was funny. I had actually ordered, I had ordered a deck, and there was a problem. So I called the Amazon customer service to find out what the hell that the deck was. And she was I think she was from the Philippines, if I remember correctly. And said, also, can you read cards? And she asked me that can you read cards like 3 times? I said, okay, yeah. So you want me to read you a card? and I did a real quickie 3-card spread, and I was shocked at the readings that I was getting, because this girl was you know, she what she told me online was that she was working you know, a lot of hours at Amazon, but she really wanted to go to school and you know, progress. She wasn't sure what to do, etc., etc. And the cards that I pulled were I you know, she couldn't see me, but I was flipping. Yeah, I remember. So there were very strong female cards, is what I remember. I think they pulled the Empress, maybe the Queen of Wands, etc. So the message was, you know, go on, girl. You know, you're going to get that. So I was very happy to give her that message. She was thrilled. I got my Amazon package, but that was my very first long distance experience. And that was probably maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess my first time was on either Hershey's channel or it was Thomas's channel. But we were reading, because I've made this is like a crossword. I made this out of losing scratch tickets, and I use numerology and basic numerology and use these words, and then, like, you know, like Moon Scare. But Ramon had been a very big inspiration, and I do bibliomancy, and I use this Saint Joseph's.
Really?
I use this a lot. I use this missile a lot, and then, but where I do get the page numbers from is I use a top, and this goes up 1 to 15, and then I spin the top, and because it goes up to 15, yeah, 1,500 pages, and then this one, it gives me the other digits and smaller. So I only wrote it like 1 to 9, but then if it goes between 1 and 9, I just make it a 0 so that I can get the zeros out of it. And then you know, for some reason it does seem to be pretty accurate, or if when I'm doing my own devotions, then I will go get a page number out of it, and then I will draw a card out of this Mary Magdalene oracle deck, and then I'll take the energy numbers, and then I'll go dive into this biblical tarot, and I'll go pull cards based upon what I don't really see that I'll ever be able to read with with that deck, because it doesn't make sense to me.
It's got its own language. The biblical one, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those that you have to study.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And
I think Selena has it. I have the black and white version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a bunch of tarot books, and I really haven't read any of them, and so
That's what I love. I don't understand.
my tarot knowledge is very, very little. It's very, very little, and but I use this apprentice tarot deck, and it has the meanings on it, but it doesn't have all that astrological stuff because the astrology doesn't make any sense to me at all. Because it might be just my background, my education background in math science.
It's another dimension. I think there is something there with astrology. I mean, if we believe that we're stardust and that we are interconnected with whatever energy, the problem is like it's like religion. No, everybody's got their own interpretation, etc., etc. So the planets are there. They might be whatever, but who's really got the right formula, and that would take some a really deep dive. Yeah.
Well, and there's another deck that I've been working with just a little bit, and it is a pack of holy playing cards.
I think I have that. Yeah.
And this one with the saints on it, and what I like about this is because you can actually what I like about this is that you have those saints on there.
Mm-hmm. But you have the playing card.
But the cards can come up reversed, and then you can have the reversal meanings, and then you can run it because it's like a minor arcana. So you can get your energy of your major arcana energy by like saying, okay, these two together is the 8, and it's like the strength card, but it's orientated towards heart energy, towards water energy, towards emotional. So you can get a different layer of depth. It's more multi-dimensional than just a standard tarot deck because of that image. And then if you wanted to go a little deeper, you can go in and look at look up the saints and see if there's some keywords there that pop out. And so I was really surprised of it. I still haven't. I just finished editing my video of it this morning, and then I'm going to, once I get the thumbnail done, I'm going to release that video. But I was really surprised when I went into it, and just when I looked at the deck for the first time, and I thought, oh my God, there's so much here, and there's more here than there is with a regular with a standard tarot deck.
Well, I mean, I guess my first introduction to playing cards was the Spanish gypsy cards, playing cards, which is they're almost they're like the Marseille without the major arcana, and there's only 40 cards, but so my grandfather used to have a bar that served food. And my dad and his brothers, they were the hired help. They were the ones that cleaned the floors. They were the ones that washed the dishes. But at the same time, Dad would hang out with the old cronies, playing cards and playing dominoes. So my dad had quite a bit of a knowledge of playing cards. When we left Cuba and immigrated to Spain, we had nothing. The only thing that we had was a deck of cards, and so we used to play cards almost every night. So in a way that opened the interest, touching the cards, looking at the images, and I remember the Ace of Cups, it was considered triumph, as a trophy. The Queen of Swords is the widow. Little so and I regret not having asked my father more, because I'm sure he would have given me a lot of more information. Then the next major milestone in my tarot career was James Bond: Live and Let Die.
Oh yeah.
With Solitaire. So I didn't care much for Roger Moore, but that was a cool part, and the whole thing with the reading cards that stuck with me.
Yeah.
So and then for the longest time it was trying to focus on the Rider-Waite Smith. But I think as you develop as a card reader, I started reading Marseille because I mostly out of curiosity. Marseille is the root of all of these games. Right.
There's one more that's older than Marseille. It's the Solabusca tarot is like in the 1490s.
Absolutely. But yeah. So the Solabusca is the first known tarot deck that we know. But the reading style of the Marseille, which is pips, so I have a strong mathematics had a strong mathematic background. So numerology always fascinated me.
Yeah.
I got that in combination with the elements. Learning how to read the Marseilles based on the relationship with the cards. That was a game changer. So
you do numerology with reading those pips. Do you do up and down numbers? Because for me, when I do a reading on somebody, I will look at I'll when I'm doing on the Rider-Waite, I'll go add those numbers together, but I'll separate them between up numbers and down numbers. And so like if it's like if they have their whatever is like that adds up to like a 4 and it's in the down and it's all from upside down cards, I say that this is a foundation. Your foundation, you need to work on your foundations, or there's some foundational issue here that you got to think about. And where I'm running more basic numerology, just the basic things. I know that you can go really, really deep into it. I haven't really gone that deep into it, but yeah.
I know what little I know. I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I find it very useful. Yeah. So with a Marseille, so I like to do a what's called a four card or what's it called? Mosaic spread. So it's really you draw 4 cards, whether you pull them or sling them out. And then you look at the cards as a set. Yeah, and there will be a card that will stand out. Normally, you would it will be a major arcana that stands out, or maybe an ace or something like that. That tells you this is the highest power here. This is what's driving it. And then you kind of take it from at least I take it from there. You start looking at are the figures facing each other? Are they facing away? Are they facing upside down? And then the significance of the numbers is manifestation, creativity, expansion. end of the road.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice because it gives you a little bit of more flexibility because at the point that I am right now, I'm a little bit so I collect tarot decks. Most of them are Rider-Waite Smith because of the artwork,
Yeah, yeah.
but not necessarily because I think the Rider-Waite Smith is just an interpretation of the cards. For example, the Three of Swords. I think that is a totally misunderstood card in my opinion. Okay, because the three you associate with the Empress, you associate it with growth, you associate it with creativity. Yeah, uh, and heartache what's the word? Um, so you get a heartache because you have the wrong expectations. Yeah, you have expectations of a project that you were hoping to blow up, expand, create, etc. And it didn't work out. Three swords to the heart is just one facet of that. And no, the Rider-Waite Smith kind of fixes you on that road. Yeah,
And they also because the authors of the Rider-Waite were Catholic Christian mystics, they also go down that path as well.
that's right. Yeah.
It's really heavily infused in that, and images from the Judgment card or this or that, and
The angels, yeah,
the
exactly.
angels and everything, and yeah.
Absolutely. No. But you know, but again, the other part component. So for the longest time, I only had one deck of cards, Selena. Believe me, and then I wanted I saw the Salvador Dali and being a fan of Salvador Dali, I decided to acquire that, and I think that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Because then you start getting into the artwork, and that one looks pretty, and that one
Yeah.
evil. and so I go into and then all of a sudden I find that you go in this tarot deck binge, and bastards keep putting out these really nice cards. I mean, I think from August, last August to October was a disaster.
Yeah.
There were so many nice decks out. Well, according to and it's a matter of taste, but the type of cards that I like were just one right after the other, and so it was a challenge to try to budget around those things.
Yeah, I've been trying to not buy, but I just ended up buying 4 new Oracle decks.
Oh well, that's where I was getting, Bill.
I know, but this here, have you? Do you have this one?
The real
life tarot?
No.
Well, okay, it's pretty expensive. It's an expensive deck.
Really?
But it's not like the most expensive one I've bought, but it has different cards on it. And so here was one of the cards, the Cult.
So it's got its own different divination system, etc.
A stinking pile of garbage.
So is it more like an oracle deck, Bill?
No, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it can be. You can use it like an oracle deck. But what it was created by an illusionist, magician guy, pulling rabbits out of hat kind of a guy. And but it's kind of like a joke tarot deck. But how I've surmised what it's for is that, so you're at a party, or you have a party, maybe, and you don't feel like reading people's tarot cards, but something, there's that one friend of yours that's going to ask always. And so instead of pulling your tarot deck out,
you're like Selena.
You pull this one out, and then you get this card. Oh, it says you're a stinking bag of trash. Or, and so instead of maybe you're a little tipsy and you just don't feel like reading cards, but you're gonna go down that humor route. You're gonna go, and so you may also at this party, you may say, it's like you may have like some folks that don't know you're a tarot reader. They don't know this, and maybe they're really devout Christian, and so instead you're bringing out this thing. And that way, it's like you're not offending anybody. And say, oh yeah, but so you just come off as being a wonderful storyteller.
Oh! I thought I would have thought the opposite. They would have crucified you for being Satan.
Yeah, well, maybe, but but the thing, what I had learned after looking at that deck for a while, or just playing with it, is that this. It's how you can open the door up to your intuition, to actually just reading the image.
The image exactly, and the vibe that you're getting at that moment, which is the interesting thing when you have different readers, because they have different experiences, different strategies, or whatever you want to call it. So something I wanted to point out. Did you see me imitating greatness here? we look like twins.
We both got hair, but I'm losing my hair. And I'm not a type of a guy that I still got a lot of my vanity, and I'm not like shaving my head. And I mean, it's just like I like I didn't know my dad was losing his hair until he was like almost 70 years of age, because I saw him with a hat on. And then I saw him one day without a hat on, and it's like, holy shit.
Holy shit.
It's just like there's just a little ring of hair around the hat, and that's it. Because I was like, I would be living up in Seattle. I'd come home for Christmas, and then he never took his hat off, and I thought, oh, good, I'm not going to lose any more of my hair or anything like that, and because my mom,
you were hoping he would go like this, and he would go,
yeah, but then it was just like, oh crap, man, it's like all over, Anyway, that's what, and mostly I wear this because my mother had found this in her closet a few years ago.
But is that spam?
Spam, yeah. Spam.
Or is it spam?
I love spam. I love the spam. It's one of my favorite foods. But,
oh my God.
Yeah. So like 30 years ago, she goes to the Oregon State Fair, and there's a Hormel booth. And she answered all the questions right, and she got a spam hat, spam apron. And then she just kind of put the hat in her closet and then forgot about it. And then a few years ago, she was going through her closet and she found it. And I said, "Oh yeah, do you want this?" I said, "Oh hell yeah, I want that."
Yeah. So I thought it was more of a critique of all the flooding of mail. I've kind of given up on my regular email account was on Gmail. I hardly look at it anymore because for everything that they require that you give your email, and then you start getting all this junk mail. At one time I spent a dedicated good time, like 2 hours per day, trying to unsubscribe from all these junk mail, and they still kept coming back.
Yeah. Well, I do check my show email address often, like 3 or 4 times a day. But then my other email addresses, I go through every now and then and delete everything out of there. And then, but when I was like going through one, I was like seeing I saw an article. It was about divination in the Bible, and I need to read that one. Because one of the subjects that I'm kind of interested in, I want to do a program on, is looking at the book of Revelations like it was a pack of tarot cards, because because I feel like, because as the heretical Christian that I am. And I put it that way because my father was either an atheist or an agnostic. I'm not quite sure. My mom, and then so I never got the whole, Bible errancy and things like that. And so when I was studying Bible in college, or even when and beyond, when the people who are really devout, they were like befuddled by what I did to Scripture and how I treated Scripture and everything, or the fact that I use Eric von Daniken as a source in a paper. And so one of my professors was thinking, "Oh, you can't use Eric von Daniken as a source." And I said, "Why not? It's an idea." "Well, the idea is just preposterous." "Well, is aliens, is being God, is that any more preposterous than the story that you're telling me? Or whatever,
That was a recent topic on was it Behind the Moon?
It was Selena's and Moan's talk a couple days ago, and then I feel like I misled them, because I said that that Eric von Daniken was on the Irish Granny's show, but then I looked it up and said it wasn't Eric von Daniken. It was one of the second generation ancient alien researchers, Paul Wallace, who was an Anglican priest out of Australia.
A priest?
Yes.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So your professor had no business telling you were off. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was so excited because I was saying, but see, Paul Wallace is like, he's probably either in your age group or he's in Ramon's and mine age group, and he's in this, it's hard to tell. So he's like a second generation, but Eric von Daniken is still alive, and he's still doing programs and doing interviews and so forth out there. But yeah, and I was very sorry that I had got it wrong, or I misspoke, but anyways, I had to go correct the record in public. But nevertheless, you had talked about, because I got sidetracked here.
We were talking about so many different things.
We were talking about a lot of different things, and you
were telling me about the divination using the New Testament.
Well, using like a missile, and it can be pretty well spot on, but I guess what.
But look at it. So I mean, these scriptures are ancient wisdom. They're archetypes. They're fables. You can draw a lot of information out of that, depending.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's right. So I was thinking of wanting to do a thing of going in because, well, what I was going at was with the, I actually had always dismissed the whole book of Revelations,
Revelation, yeah.
even going really early on, because I really kind of felt like that when it was like going into scriptures for spiritual knowledge, that you really didn't need to look any further than the Gospels. Then you could pretty well skip everything else, and that's where one of the ways I became am a heretic, because I don't or that I while I'm in there doing that, I'm looking at the Gnostic Gospels and I'm thinking, well, why can't I look at these too?
Sure.
Why are these excluded and everything else? And so that's kind of that where I kind of got in trouble with people is that I did look at other things and other possibilities, and so,
More power to you. I mean,
yeah.
My philosophy, and I can't remember who I told this to this recently. You learn to make bread by making other bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. If you've ever made bread, Bill, I started to make tried to make sourdough bread, and the first attempts were horrible. So I kind of gave that up and started to make all the types of breads that were easier with leavening, etc. And by doing something else, you kind of learn the requirements for something else. Yeah, and that could be said of just about any knowledge. No, it's about keeping an open mind and making the connections.
Yeah. And so, like, I remember a long time ago, I had struggled so hard to learn algebra, but it wasn't really until I took a chemistry class what I
That
really, and it started to gel in my head, because it was like, oh, you had to balance these equations and balance these things,
exactly. That's exactly, yeah, exactly.
and then it wasn't, and I really didn't get algebra until I took calculus. And then it was like calculus, and then it was linear algebra, and it was like advanced mathematics, where there's no numbers that went into it at all,
Yeah,
and then that's where you
it's
started to grasp
better.
those things.
Mm-mm.
But then I started doing a lot of art, and then my whole brain changed someplace between
Mhm.
35 and 45, and then it was like I couldn't grasp that stuff anymore. But there was a time where, like, one time I remember, I think it was my late 30s, and I was in one of those moments where I got displaced by the economy again, and then I got this opportunity to do some job retraining, and I completely, so they sent me to a Seattle Central Community College. So I took the entry exam, and my scores there were so high that he said, well, you don't need to take any math at all. It's like, so you got like a real high score on the math, but I don't think I could do that anymore. But when you say you have to make bread to make bread, and yeah, I like to cook myself, but yeah, you kind of
No, we all learn differently as well, Bill. Some people have a photographic memory. They can read something and they already absorb the information. So some people need to get their hands in a manner to be able to learn. Yeah, and then again, it depends also on the subject. If it's something that resonates with you and you're attracted to it, of course you can learn it quickly. And for me, uh, unfortunately, I learned very late that um, my performance in school was very much based on the relationships that I had with the teachers. If I didn't like
Um,
the teacher, if I didn't like the teachers, I you know I would do average work. If I like
mhm,
if I like the teacher, I would do better, much better.
mm, yeah.
Um, unfortunately, so I had some very good teachers that were very inspiring, uh, but,
Mhm,
but but I also had some really bad ones, and
yeah, yeah.
and they were usually the heads of the department.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
So then you mentioned you lived in Germany for like 20 years.
yeah.
So
Uh,
and you did a you did like a career that was involved in like math sciences and stuff like that?
Genetics.
Genetics.
Mm.
Huh? Oh. So
So
you're a science.
yeah, a geek basically. I yeah, to be honest, I left home when I was 18 to study with so I loved animals. I grew up around animals all the time, so I thought I wanted to be a vet,
Mm,
but for some reason that didn't pan out. Um, I managed a bachelor's in chemistry. I probably could have had a minor in math
yeah.
because math I could do sleeping. Uh, um, 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 uh, so when I uh, after so I took it took me 5 years to graduate from college because I was working and going to school and working summers. You know, the maximum I could do was like 3 courses per semester.
Mm,
So so it kind of dragged instead of graduating in 4 years, not to five, but that was I think I only took one summer off. Um, um, and so I at that time Miami was coming of age, um, and I was kind of homesick. I wanted to be in a large town, and I missed my friends from high school, etc. Um, so I came to Miami, and unfortunately, Miami still there's only two types of industry: tourism and hospitals.
yeah.
Okay, and well, and now and then banking became a big thing with all the money laundering and drugs
Mm,
from South America. So the 1980s 90s was really Miami Vice. Yeah.
well,
Uh,
I have a question. Now,
mhm.
were you born in Cuba?
I was born in Cuba.
And
Hmm.
what did you come to the United States?
Yeah,
What age did you come to the United States?
10.
Oh, at 10?
Yeah. So we tried to leave Cuba when I was 6 years old. We were captured, so I spent a month in jail with my mom. So I know what the inside of a jail is like. Uh, my dad was in jail for 2 years as a political prisoner. Uh, 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 we managed to get support for us to leave through Spain. So all my grandparents are Spanish,
Yeah.
and we lived in Spain for a year. I didn't want to leave Spain. I was having a ball. Compared to the town where I grew up, Madrid was a metropolis,
Yeah.
and the department stores, the metro, the parks, the bars. Um, and it was, it was my language. I was already going to school. I had gone to school with my cousins in Galicia, which is in northern Spain. Um, but my parents wanted to come to the States to be closer to Cuba, because at that time they thought that the regime would not last very long, and that they would go back and regain everything they had lost. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so I came here when I was 10. Um, it was rough because there was a huge generational gap. My parents' generation were thinking that their stay here was going to be temporary, that they were eventually going to go back to Cuba. So Miami in that time was really a Cuban ghetto.
Mm.
It was for myself. So a lot of kids accepted that, but me and my group of friends, we felt asphyxiated. If you wore a pair of jeans, or you had long hair, that was communism. Okay,
Yeah.
And you mentioned the word communism to a Cuban, and that's the end of the story. Which is still what we're suffering from still. We have these.
So it becomes like a trigger word, because I don't do really politics on this channel at all. But if I were to just to mention it, is that because there is no communism in the United States, but they use that word to trigger people.
Absolutely. That's
There
it.
might be some people who would like communism, but I mean, most people, I think, if push came to shove, they would want democratic socialism.
Yeah.
But they don't want to have a centrally controlled economy. They don't want
Exactly.
you know,
Which is so, not to get into politics, Bill, but it's the whole enigma and dilemma of what's happening now, because they're still pounding on that trigger word to manipulate people who don't have who are clueless of what communism, authoritarianism, and socialism are. Yeah, that's
yeah.
fundamentally the problem.
We have a lack of education in the United States, but it's been
Very
that way
much,
for now.
very
But
much
then,
so.
there's that spirit there, because I've been watching the Burns, the Revolution War on PBS. There's like a 6-part documentary special, but you because going back to the founding of this country, there is that, I don't know where I was going with that, but there was that spirit that is within most people who end up here, have the same kind of
Seal.
they have the same kind of a zeal as that goes back and back. But it's that, I mean, when I seen that, I was thinking, it filled me with a whole lot of hope, because that spirit that existed in the founding of this country still exists within the hearts of everybody that is here, and everybody who came here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's befuddled or muddled. I think when push comes to shove, if people got down to the nitty gritty and understood the mechanisms, I'm sure that's what they would want. Okay, if you look back at history and the evolution of humanity, Bill, we have been slowly and often going back and forth um, between extremes. Yeah, but we have slowly been moving away from of the feudal systems and authoritarian systems. They don't last.
They don't last, and it's like we are going. I'm not really getting, is you have these things happen. If you want to become metaphysical about it, these things happen and they become a mirror of society. These are things that exist within the human heart. Like we say, I say that I don't believe in original sin, but then there's this whole thing, this whole Pauline thing when you talk about depravity and stuff. Where did that belief come from? And so maybe it's like it's part of the human experience, but maybe it's something that came out of the animal kingdom. But I don't really know to kind of to ferret things out, because you look at like we don't know, because we what did we inherit from the animal kingdom? Was it just purely our maybe a lot of the addictions and things like that, the addictive behaviors and whatnot? But then like the other day I like watched, there's the wild turkeys came onto my property, and then it was all fine until these 4 males showed up. And then the males, and there were two of these younger males, and they were sparring with each other. And then one of them got him right back by the back of the neck, and it was like following him around, and he was trying to get away. And then an older male just fluffed up all of its feathers and everything, and it was just like, knock that crap off, it said. And then and then of course they probably go to somebody else's yard, and they're back at it again, but that's that because these turkeys are highly social creatures. And so,
it's part of the socialization process. Pecking order. Yeah. But it often has to do with survival. Bill, you wanna do selection for that one who's strongest or the most fit, or prepared for whatever changes may come. Yeah, and one of the things, one of the pillars in genetics is diversity is important, because what may be a trait that may be advantageous to us at some point, is in another situation is disadvantageous.
Well, I kind of believe that autism is an evolutionary thing. That I think we're seeing evolution, and so maybe there's
possibly
bad, but maybe as kind of the evolution, as we are coming out of into more and more reliant upon technology, and there might be something in there that because I know that there's the autism in my family, and it comes from my grandfather, and where there's like various degrees of it. Good night, Nancy and Hershey. Thanks for popping in for a few minutes into the chat, and you can go back to lurking in and so forth. And thank you for being here. Yeah.
We're only talking about a little bit about tarot. Everything else.
I know. We're just kind of all over the place, which means we need to continue this conversation again on another day, because we can.
What time is it?
It's 5:15.
Okay.
Granted, most of my dinner's all cooked because I made it last night. And
what'd you make?
I made split pea soup.
Oh, awesome! I love split pea.
Yeah.
I love any kinds of soup. I used to make a pot of beans at least once a month. But because I like to make them from scratch. But you end up with a whole pot of beans, and even I would make portions of it and freeze them. But then I would be eating beans for a whole month.
Maybe after Thanksgiving holiday we can get back, have another conversation, but maybe we can go a little bit more deep into when you're talking about the Tarot Marseille and the numerology and those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would really like that because
one last just to give you a taste. I blame Selena, Bobby Fierro, and Ramon for turning me into Oracle, and now that's like my newest vice. Yeah,
being Oracle, yeah, and then as I go work with this deck a little bit more. But my other channel is Tools of Fortune, and
really?
yeah, it's called Tools of Fortune. I'm actually logged on here as one of my own moderators, just in case in case I didn't get a moderator tonight. But one of the things that's nice about StreamYard is that you get less trolls that come into it. And whereas when you run your live streams through the YouTube app, you'll get a lot more trolls because it kind of dumps your live feed into this feed of other live streams, and so you'll have a lot of tourists come through and to see what they can do. Because I'll have to admit that one of my favorite lives I've done this year, Mama Sushi hated it, absolutely hated it, but I just got back from the beach and I was in a super good mood, and it was right before school started, and so I go throw on this hat here. I throw on this.
Miss Sarah T is not on there, no. We were talking about going down the Yellow Brick Road.
So I throw on the tinfoil hat and I start doing spinning poetry or whatever I want to call it, right out of thin air or out of what people were saying in the chat. And so I was on for roughly an hour, and I had over 1,000 chat messages during that time period. But all these people came in there, just glummed in there real fast, and so you couldn't quite keep up with. People were saying some outrageous things, and most of the people saying outrageous things were in that. I'm sure they were in that under 25, and they were in that whole under 25 crowd, and they were still, they were channeling Bart Simpson, and they were channeling Beavis and Butthead. So they were channeling all these forces, and so. But it was really exhilarating because there was so many people that were coming in, but then there was so much words that they were throwing in there that I could actually weave stories on the spot right out of it.
Oh my God! So no, that's there's a new type of divinatory, Bill. Chatomancy.
Yeah. Well, it's to me it was a blast. To me, I had a blast, and it was, and I think it was kind of similar to like the year before in 2024. I had 10,000 people come into one of my live streams too.
Wow.
Yeah, and but it's really but when you get when you get those high numbers, it really kind of makes it does a number on your ego, because you can get yourself all out of proportion and thinking that you're really all that, but you're really not. You're just you, and you just happen to have got a lucky day, like.
Well, maybe I don't know. If it's a lot of unwanted trolls, I won't consider that too lucky. What caught me, the first time that I paid attention to doing the live. Was it with Ginger or was Shadi? That is when I noticed, I was trying to maintain a conversation with my hostess, at the same time trying to read cards, but then the chat just kept rolling, and you know, and maybe a little bit ADD. So I was trying to keep up with the chat and do everything else. So it was very strainful. I was exhausted.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of you know, but the thing is one of the best ways to deal with the trolls is, and it actually does work, but if they are is
share,
like
share.
That one of the best ways to say is you say, "Oh, is that the best you can do, buddy?" and usually it shuts them down because they can't do any better because that's all they've been dreaming up all day to think, "Oh, I'm going to do this." But you know what I have done with my channel is I've gone into the backside of it and put a bunch of words that are filtered out. So you know, if they're really offensive words, you go through and
you can block certain text like that.
Oh yeah, you can block all kinds of words, and so.
But is that a function of StreamYard or with YouTube? You can do that on YouTube as well.
You do it for YouTube, and so I don't know if you probably can do that with a StreamYard, but anyways, it's
So I was gonna show you my secret weapon. I bought this tarot this oracle deck for doing love readings.
Oh yeah.
And it's horrible. so
I have a couple. This one here, what?
I have that one. I have that one over there, but that one is pretty good.
That one, and then the other one, but this one's more general. This is called "What's Blocking You."
What's the vibe? Yeah, yeah.
I haven't, or what's the vibe? I have another one that's it's still in a package.
That was on my list. What's the other one, Bill?
The other one is, this one's "What's the Vibe." The other one is "What's Blocking You," and then this one works too, but this is a more of an affirmational thing.
Okay,
it's
more general.
A Mother Mary oracle, because I am a Mary. I am a Mary kind of person. And then also, if you think about doing a major arcana oracle, which is this is just the major arcana.
I have that, but mine is much narrower.
Yeah, so this is just the major arcana cards.
Okay, so okay, yeah.
So I use this one as a like, it's a kind of an oracle to find out where you're at in your spiritual journey. And so the person is always, the person that you're asking for is always this card. They're always this, and then you mix it up really well, and you want to see where they are, and then you see what goes in, you know, in the front, and then you go in and then you go searching for that card, and then you see what is this side of it and that side of it. So it's a matter of what's behind you and where are you going, and so. So I know, like, I had done a reading with my sister on it, and it was like it showed up. It was like right at the very end, and there was like, okay, this is what's behind you, but there's nothing in front of you.
Oh, is it?
And that was kind of like what's going on with that. And I kind of now I do know what happened, but I'm not, I'm not really going to. That's because I started with just reading with family, or I started with reading for my.
The Normand deck is more or less on that principle, and I think there's a spread called is it the Golden Dawn spread or something like that? Which I think is like 10 cards, and it's really positional that way, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Lila. welcome.
She's coming.
Yeah. Well, she probably had to work.
I know. And cook and take care of the squishes.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what, Roman, I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
Anytime, Bill. I was gonna wait. So what am I gonna talk to with this guy about? But you make it easy. Anytime.
Well, good. We'll have more to talk about. Now, we could have done the coloring the tarot, but that's more of like of a thing that you do like the first time. Okay. Because you would, and we already had the first time, and so so I have an ongoing conversation with Jeff with Tarot Ask Backwards, and and so what are we talking about tomorrow? It's the sense of being like born, like I used to have this sense when I was a kid. It happened all the way up until I think I was like 40, where I felt like I was born in the wrong century or something like that. And there's people who have that experience, and because what reminded me of it was watching. I like that reality show Alone with the history.
I've heard of it. I was going to ask you if you have ever done like ancestral work or astral traveling, Bill. Another thing I came up with when Ramon had me on his channel, he asked me what other divination tools would I be interested in, and at the time the only thing I could think of was reading tea leaves, which I think it would be kind of interesting, but I totally forgot about palmistry,
my great grandmother read tea leaves. My Swedish great grandmother.
That's very popular in Northern European and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and she read playing cards. I understand. And so essentially, the way my journey started with the tarot is this: I always wanted to do tarot, like I always wanted to paint, but my Christianity, me trying to be a Christian or trying to be what I thought a Christian was supposed to be, so I didn't pursue divination. Of course, I had been doing this kind, that kind, and then I've done that one for a long time. But what happened is I haven't been doing tarot that long. I've only been doing it less than 3 years. But my mother was in the hospital for COVID.
2020.
I was sick with COVID.
You were? Okay. No, COVID made me sick, but I wasn't sick with COVID.
And I was sick with COVID. My mother was in the hospital with COVID.
Wow.
And I was talking with an aunt because I was calling everyone up, and my aunt, that was my father's sister. My father passed away in a car accident several years ago.
Really?
And but that's just as a fact. But so I was somehow I got the conversation, and then my aunt told me, oh yeah, that her grandmother was a diviner. She did, reading these tea leaves or read playing cards, and that was like the permission that I was seeking in order to do this, because I was flirting with it. I was studying numerology. I was flirting with the idea of tarot for more seriously for 2 years before that, and then and it was just like, yes, I can do it.
But that's just a perfect example of calling on your ancestors for guidance. That's brilliant.
Well, and just with the whole Catholic thing. Now, I wasn't raised Catholic. I was raised Protestant as a Lutheran. I became a Catholic.
You became
a Catholic in my 20s after taking a trip to the Holy Lands.
Really?
And then, yeah. Yeah, and then I was really contemplating wanting to go into monasticism, be a monk. But then I was kind of drawn because there was a girl, and but then that relationship didn't work out. But then but then I kind of just pushed it away. Well, maybe in the future I might hitch up and get married or something like that. And I didn't really want to close that door completely. And then there were other things that ended up closing that door. So that door became closed around the time I was like 30 something years of age. But that was like something that I had thought about, and though granted I'm pretty much lived a celibate life, I probably could have done that life, but but nevertheless,
Bill,
that was yeah.
have you ever read or there's a couple of good films on the life of Saint Francis of Assisi.
I have seen a little bit on Saint Francis of Assisi. I had liked Saint Francis. I guess when I was in that time, I was more studying of Saint John of the Cross and Teresa of Avila, and those were really strong saint figures that were very meaningful of that time. I guess that's why I kind of like gravitate more towards the Marys, the Mary of Guadalupe or the Mary of Magdalene, and
they're all manifestations of the
Virgin Mary. Yeah. Or they may be just different Marys altogether. I don't really know.
No, I think it's essentially, well, essentially we all are all one. Bill. Yeah. It's just different manifestations. But that'll be another topic because so we was this Ginger and this other girl, I forgot her name right now. We were touching on voodoo and Santeria. Okay, and how these pagan religions essentially embraced, particularly Catholicism, to be able to worship, to keep their traditions alive.
To hide in it, and so it was easier for them to hide themselves within but these other newer forms of like evangelical Christianity, it's harder to hide. It's harder to hide yourself because they pulled all the images out and the icons out and things like that. It would be harder. It would be harder to hide. And
and the preacher becomes the god essentially. But okay, let's not go there. let's leave it on a good note.
We can go there on a different conversation, and because it's within the realm of where with my background of being a religious study student and so forth, and math sciences, because I'm always eternally curious about kinds of things like that.
Bill, send me a link to your other channel.
I would do that. It's actually on my well, I'll do that.
Are they linked? The one channel with the other?
My channels are linked together. So like if you go down on my channel header page, I have a whole bunch of favorite channels, and then you go down into that list, and then there's Tools of Fortune on there, or I will just send you a direct link, and so you don't.
Okay, and I would be interested. One of the things that I wanted to bring up eventually, but time flies. I'd be very interested to find out how you came about to doing this. But let's leave that for the next time, Bill.
How I came about doing YouTube? Well,
and in particular this program, because I mean most people are doing a video response videos, or they're doing readings. But this is a little bit unique because I mean you're like a talk show host.
Art Bell. Art Bell.
Art Bill.
Art Bell. That's how.
Alrighty.
Art Bell was a talk radio guy. It becomes because I love talk radio.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well,
I love talk radio.
Welcome to the Bill Show.
Yeah,
Awesome.
well, that's it. It's because I love talk radio, and that's why. So when I first started this channel, and so I would like to open things up to have other kinds. Like I'm trying to get a guy who is a deconverted Christian to come on, and I think probably after Christmas it may happen, and so if I could afford it, I would bring Richard Carrier on here, but he charges like $250 or $300 a session to go, and he's an atheist. He's like an atheist scholar.
Okay.
And so he charges something, and so it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be bringing somebody on who. I'm
sure that there's reasonable substitute out there.
Yeah, but I've seen him on small channels too. But then that person had to pay for it, and so it'd be nice to I would like to bring in different peoples to go talk to. I've been trying to. There's some artists that I've been trying to get to come on, but it's been kind of with their schedules, and so one of my friends,
it's difficult. Yeah,
she's a professional artist. She makes her living doing art and modeling and different things like that, but she's not she's my age. She's 6 months younger than I am, but she had made she did this thing called medical modeling for a lot of years. That's like her main gig, and where doctors and people they practice giving enemas and doing other things like that, and just on the body. And so
no.
She ain't got no shame. She ain't got no shame.
Life demos. No.
And when I had met her many years ago, she was making a living as a life model. So she would go do life drawing, be the model for drawing classes and things like that. And so she essentially self-employed her entire adult life, and she's like really well, I've met a lot of odd people, and she's like right in there as far as like odd people is concerned, but I've known her for a long time, and
well, ask her on the show. I mean, why not?
I have my folks from my Seattle writers group have been after me to get her to come on. And
have you had Lila on the show?
I have had her on the show. She needs to come back on sometime.
Nah, there, I throw her on the bus.
Yeah, well, maybe what I can do is if she has any insights on, let's say, tomorrow's conversation with Jeff, I can throw her a link and she can come in.
Is around the same time when you're going to be on?
Yeah, I'm going to be on with Jeff tomorrow at 5 p.m. my time, so it's 8 o'clock your time. We're going to be on for roughly 1 hour, on for 1 hour, and then
have you put the announcement out yet on YouTube?
Yeah, it is out there. The thumbnail was already been created, and then we're talking every week about things. He's really into like apocalyptic stuff and things like that, and so that kind of stuff kind of fascinates me, but I kind of I come from this like old school academic perspective, and I look at how many times have people set the date for the apocalypse,
the rapture.
And it's not just within Christianity; it's within everything else. You have this new new cult that's going around AI, and that and AI is going to destroy the world. Well, maybe, but maybe it's not going to be any different than Y2K. Y2K was the computers. The 1999 going into year 2000, and then the whole world was going to destroy, and then blip, nothing. Nothing. December 12th, 2012, the Mayan calendar is going to end, and then nothing. And here we are. And so I think it's just people set these dates, and I'm sure it's like all over the world, and I'm sure it's all over. It's probably something that's, but people have a lot of suffering, and I understand why they kind of do that stuff, but I don't know. Anyways, it sounds like we could be talking on here for hours, Roman, and with good.
God bless. And I would really love to learn more about your journey, Bill, and how you ended up here doing this. So, but
all right. Well, so like when I had Miss Taro D on, I had all these questions I was going to ask her, but she ended up interviewing me on my own channel.
Because everybody wants to know how the hell you did this.
Yeah. So yeah. That was very surprising. I just loved that for that one. I loved Miss Taro D, and I wanted to thank everybody for being here and hanging out in the chat. Fabled Witch, she's going to come on Tools of Fortune and read with me, and in the near future, it'll probably be after Thanksgiving.
When is she going to be with Ramon? I thought is it tomorrow?
Well, I don't know when she's going to do that. Maybe tomorrow night. And so I'm going to start bringing some other, like co-readers on that channel too. So she'll be my first co-reader coming on Tools of Fortune. Awesome. And probably Ramon's probably working too much. Anyways, and thank you, Lila, Tapestry of the Unseen. Thank you, Essence of the Moon. Thank you, Hershey, though she's lurking in. Thank you, John. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank everybody for hanging out and entertaining yourself in the chat. And Nancy and all the rest.
He was ill. He was not supposed to be on Shoddy Voices of the Swamp, and he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So I sent him a message to find out how he was doing, and I gather he's just kind of probably catching up. After I was sick for about four weeks. And I still haven't caught up, Bill. But what the hell?
Well, after this video completes its upload process, I'll send you a collaboration link. And so I think what that means is you may be able to share in some of the watch hours that come from this. I don't know how that works, but I will send that to you. After this, I think it'll take like 20 hours to upload. And after that, then you can go there if you want to like get a clip from it and make shorts. I think you can do that.
I appreciate it, Bill. Send it to me. I'm not gonna never say never. I'm just trying. I finally took a bath today.
You took a bath today.
No, since Dia de los Muertos, it's Halloween. It's been a roller coaster. Amazing. So I'm not complaining. It's just
So you can't like go out into the ocean and take a bath? Because I hear it's pretty warm in the Florida Ocean.
Well, I used to be a beach bunny, Bill, and a sun worshiper. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But after COVID, all that kind of crashed. I haven't been to the ocean. I kind of miss it. But when you turn on the news and they're pulling tourists out of the beach because the waters are contaminated and there's some bacteria floating around eating people.
Yeah.
And I used to go to the beach and spend the whole day on the beach. I don't think I can do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't go anywhere unless I take my mother with me, and so then there's like limited places. So when we do go to the beach, there's limited beaches that we go to where we can just drive right into one of those handicap parking places, and then she can't exactly walk on the beach anymore, but she can get around with a cane and so forth.
Wow.
And so then you can walk, you can go out and you can look out and you can look out into the ocean. There's like at D River Park. There's one of those places, or maybe we go to Pacific City. See, but when it comes to like maybe going to some of my favorite beaches, you have dunes to get up and go over, and so they're not really places that mother can go, and then the dog's too old unless I carry the dog, which I did the last time, and but nevertheless, I really appreciated having you on, Roman, and you can just when I end the stream, we'll go backstage for a minute, and then we can say our goodbyes, and then we'll.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Gotcha. All right, so we're gonna say goodbye to everybody out there in YouTube land, and we'll see you all the next time.
Now you can confirm that I'm crazy.